Okay, here we go. Let's take it from the top and just listen through the song, and then we can start going through each of the individual parts and how it got there.
When I say I am yours, let me mean it. Every day, every breath, by your spirit. Wanna walk like the sun and love like my Father in heaven. Hear you say, well done, and live in the light of your presence. Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live without. Oh, I only want you, Jesus. Lifts my hands to the living God, bringing praise that goes on and on. Oh, I only want you, Jesus. I can help but respond to your glory. All my heart crying out, holy, holy. Wanna sing of the Son and join with the angels in heaven. Let your kingdom come. I just wanna stay in your presence. Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live without. Oh, I only want you, Jesus. Lift my hands to the living God, bringing praise that goes on and on. Oh, I only want you, Jesus. Oh, I only want you, Jesus. You're everything. Yes, yes. Jesus, my all, Jesus, my King. I wouldn't trade you for anything. When it's all said and done, I wanna say you are the prize, you're everything. Jesus, my all, Jesus, my King. I wouldn't trade you for anything. When it's all said and done, I wanna say you are the prize.
So that is the entire song.
That was the rough draft?
That was the rough draft of the entire song. Okay, so I would like to start with showing you the piano because it starts the song. So we actually ran the MIDI back through the disc clavier piano, and I'll show you guys what that sounded like from the top. I'll turn off the processing. Looks like a lot. It's not as much as it looks like. This is dry. First thing I started with was using the black box, but in the mid side. So what you can do is you can do this parameter link right here. And then you can change it for the mid and the side. So you can see the mid is 46% output and the side is 50. So it makes it just like a little bit more wide. So we'll turn that on and you can, besides an obvious volume gain. It's also doing the saturation on the bandpass. If you solo that, you can hear where it is. It's pushing that frequency a little bit more with saturation. Unsolo that. The next thing was, I think I was actually checking the phase with this plugin, but I made the mono anything under 339 hertz. And then here's the EQ. So this is a 12 dB slope. I can show you. Just trying to get rid of some of that mud. And then over here, it got a little nasty as well. Sooth 2 helped a lot with the low mids. Piano enhancer. This is a Harrison 32. You can get it as a part of the SSL package, but it's adding like some high end, you can see, and some high mids. Also gives it a little bit of noise, but changed the tonality of it a lot. Since I wasn't actually, I guess, using this for imaging, I put an actual stereo widener on it. So it starts at 1, and this is 1.25. And then this was kind of the end of the chain, and it was just the same thing I used on the piano live. I think I printed it, and then Andrew said that there was a frequency way up here, and that's what this extra thing is. So, and he was right.
There it is.
You can see it. He said, cut this, and I said, okay, so that's why there's an extra EQ just at the end. And then the verb is using this lexicon on lush piano. Let's see, and then just taking some of the low end out of that. But you can tell it adds a lot. So as we keep going through what built up the mix, there's that. Let's go to, so the pads that Andrew made.
Pad cool.
And I did almost nothing with these, I think. Yeah, same thing. I just copied and pasted it just to make sure it wasn't adding any like low end mud. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah.
I know I'm talking this way.
No, it's perfect. Okay.
Here's the main pad live. It's just here. Same idea, just taking out some low end. So I'll mute the vocals real fast so we can listen to just the instrumentation. So we keep going through. So, you can also obviously hear the guitar right there in the background. So we actually recorded that. What? We did DI, right, Wesley?
No, we recorded just clean into the guitar, into the boxes, and then you bounced that to me.
Yeah, mono, right? So we did mono, and then you ran it through.
Yeah, then I ran it through the line 6 plugin, the vibrato, and then the Big Sky plugin.
So it's too bright.
And then I filtered it off.
Yeah, I think I ended up
probably did more.
Filtering it some more, kind of. Taking off some more high end on it.
What does that sound like without the Pro Q?
It's not crazy here. I think it's over here. Or, let's see. So it's more for the back end when it gets bigger. Soothe as well, taking out. Kind of soothes out the like mid-range right there. It's literally the name of the plugin. So as we keep going, I'll just keep going through the individual things as it like kind of built up through the mix. So from the top, you have these are the BGVs that we recorded in this office. I'm yours. Let me mean it when I say here's my life. Yeah, so it's cutting off all that nasty high end from it and making sure no S's come through. Lift my hands to the living God, bringing praise. It's actually brought the stereo width down. Goes on and on, oh, I only want you. This is the built-in Pultec they have inside of Pro Tools, just because I didn't care. So it's thinning them out and also taking a little bit of the edge off the top while adding a little bit of sparkle. It's both at the same time. This thing is in super parallel. It's obviously a loud boost, but the mix is 7%. So like, but it's also adding some drive to them. A lot of drive to them. Let's see, cutting out some top end and also cutting out some bottom end. This is the built-in reverb inside of Pro Tools. Here's my life, Lord, which actually works kind of perfect.
What is that?
It's called Deverb.
Deverb?
Deverb. So it's on a large hall and it's set to 50%. It's because I just dropped it right on the gang vocals. Honestly, this one might be left over from when we did Church Agrees. And it just worked. Like, I think a lot of this is. And then another thing of Weiss Dies. You can hear what it's.
So you started with one at the top of the chain, and then one post-processing.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even saying this is the way you should do it. It's more the fact that this song just needed it. These gang vocals were really bright. That is, let's see how many tracks is in there. So it looks like 4, and then the back end is when we doubled the melody. And then on these, it's just cutting out the low end. It was high. Andrew forced us to do that. Yeah. So continuing as like the song develops, and then we can just go instrument by instrument and build it up from like drums. So probably the main part of this section are the strings. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Zach McDaniel. Woo. Okay, so you gave me multiple mics. I muted whatever these two were. Don't remember. Let's listen to it.
Oh, it says on the audio.
Does it? Small diaphragm condenser and this ribbon. Okay, yeah. So let's see what this one was. I kept the ribbon of the cello and then whatever the main violin was, and then the small diaphragm condenser of cello 2. So let me turn off the effects on these and you can get an idea of what it sounded like. And this is tuning.
No way, auto-tune?
Auto-tune. I think did you send it to me that way? Or did you talk about sending it to me that way?
Yeah, we talked about it, and then I said, I'm just going to let you do it.
Okay, cool. This is called Violin Warmer.
Genius.
So...
Write that down.
Violin preset for violin.
And there's this cool plugin from Plugin Alliance that is called Stereo Maker. So that's obviously back in mono now. Does a kind of like doubling thing to it, but then you can change also where it's they call it tilt or pan, and it's tilted to the left, so it kind of feels like it's on the left. If it was panned, now it's actually over there. It's just kind of the main part of it is feeling like it's on the left. For the cello, let's see. Same thing with tuning. Trying to get rid of some of that low end of it, since everything else has it. The MV2 is upwards and downwards compression, so it's going to make the loud things softer and the softer things louder. So it's kind of just leveling out the whole thing. There's obviously a gain difference in it, but it's just bringing the overall dynamics up. And then this one is panned a little bit to the right. And then when you add, I think there's one more right here. Yeah. Let's see what it was. So it's the lower guy. Same idea, cutting some of like the low end because the rest of that actually lived in the track. It didn't need it. And this is probably just copied and pasted. So then when you solo those, and this was trying to get rid of, once again, some more of the low end, low mids. So it's taking some of that out. Same thing. And then what kind of made these come to life was the shimmer verb, actually. So here's the main verb, but then the shimmer.
Oh, wow.
What's the main verb?
It's the Lexicon 224 on Atmosphere. It's actually like a really long preset. Let me turn off the shimmer and I'll stop it.
Yeah, there's long Ds.
It's really long, but it's really pretty on these kind of strings, especially since they're solo strings. But then here's the shimmer, like its tail. I think it's just our concert hall that we always use. And it has that. Actually, it's not, because I know the concert hall preset doesn't have the shimmer on it. So this is on the single. So you have that higher octave. So here's it together. And here's the send. The shimmer is turned up right here and then turned up on the interlude. You can see. And then there's just volume rides. And here's what that sounds like in context. Yeah. Let's go over a couple more elements, and then we'll just start building tear the mix down and build it back up. So here's the crowd. It played a massive part of this mix. So once again, some of this is just left over from what we did with Church Agrees. This is also from Plugin Alliance. It's called the Kirchhoff, and it's basically the Pro Q3. So it's very similar. In some ways, this is just turning it down, but it's also cutting out the low end, cutting out the high end. So it's really band passing it. And then you're kind of left a little bit right there, but trying to get rid of the high end and some of the low end mud. So I can show you with and without this, but it's obviously going to get louder. Okay, so let's turn everything off from the end and go backwards.
Why the Kirchhoff, not the Pro Q?
You know, because we sent this to Corbin Phillips, and this is what he put on there, and I liked it.
And you bought it, and then...
We actually already had it.
Okay.
So So this is the crowd mics with nothing. And then they're obviously much smaller now. Here's the black box once again. So it's adding saturation across the whole thing, the whole spectrum. And it's making them a little wider. So it's turned down on the output right here. But then if you go to the mid, it's at 45 and the output is at this side is at 50. So if you turn it on, it pushes them a little bit further out to the sides. API 2500 is starting to do some minor compression, I think. Let's see. A little bit more back here when they get a little rowdy. So it's actually got it set to where it's compressing the left and right separately from this left-right link. So you could see it hit more on the right side, which I assume is audio. I would think it is audience perspective, but I was thinking maybe the drum kit was on that side, but I don't know. Either way, you can tell it's getting hit, mostly from Josiah. This is also from Plugin Alliance. So if you have their subscription, you would have this. It's called Louder Than Liftoff. You know, I honestly don't even remember putting this on there. So you've got a high cut, low cut, and focus. I'm going to copy this so we can see what exactly it's doing too. So it's cutting, actually pushing a little bit of the low end back into it. Like I said, I honestly don't even remember this. It might have been leftover from something, and I liked the way it sounded, and I didn't mess with it. True Iron it's from, Kazrog, I think is the name of the company. So this is another way to add harmonics. So I don't even know what the voicing is, but 108X or something. Pushing more harmonics into it also obviously pushed the volume up a little bit. And then back to that parallel compressor right here. It's taking a lot of the top end out. It's still has some true harmonic distortion right here. And the mix is a little higher than the last one. So it's at 21%. I think the volume's about to jump though. We'll see. It's actually... So it's controlling the crowd a little bit more and kind of keeping it more under check. Bringing it up some too. Now our verb is actually on the crowd. That is from Waves. So the wet dry is at 41% right here. You can hear the tail there of what it's doing. Once again, that's left over from Corbin, and I liked it. Lastly, I saw this from Chris Greeley talking about Louder Than Liftoff. This plugin could, once again, do another thing that could kind of push stuff out to the sides and make it sound a little wider. So I tried this out. And you can kind of tell. I don't know if y'all can hear that back there, but... kind of makes it sound a little more exciting. So if we go back to the beginning, we can play the song with and without the crowd so you can feel what it's really doing. So I'll mute the vocal. Or unmute the vocal, rather. Oh.
Every day, every breath, by your spirit.
There's like no life in the mix now.
Wanna walk like the sun and love like my Father in heaven.
That's such a big difference.
It's a big part of her sound, like her vocal verb.
Wanna walk like the sun.
She's like right in front of me now. You turn it on and you feel like she's in the room, which, you know, makes sense. So so that's kind of like the stuff that made up the beginning. Let's go through a breakthrough of how the drums, bass, EGs, and everything kind of built up as the song went along. So we'll take this verse 2 with the groove it goes into and start muting things. So we're going to leave it to just the drums. Okay. So here they are. There actually is no snare on this verse. So you can see the trigger right here. Let's go ahead and open up what the kick trigger is. Actually, I printed it. It is definitely the 22-inch kick from Sam Gibson and Austin Davis. But here it is. So here's the kick. Here's without the trigger. Yeah. So it's got the Yamaha sub kick on the outside. Just low end. This is the D6 on the inside. So here's the actual channel. I printed it as well, but it's using the silencer as a gate. Here's the Pro Q that is adding some high end, getting rid of all things. Let's take a listen to it. So it's kind of just adding a little bit extra to the kick trigger to make it feel, more real. And then Spiff, the Beta 91 preset. Pretty cool. Here's without that. And you mix that with a sub. I think that's why I turned it off or printed it.
Oh.
It's like, here we go. Now they're lined up. And then you mix that with the trigger and
it's pretty good.
It is using the orange clip that's taking off everything above the top and clipping it. Here's without it. You can hear the clipping it gives it, and it's a little bit of saturation. That's also running to a room verb right here. This is for sidechain, and this is a parallel kick because it's not running to the parallel drum bus that we talked about. And here's the parallel kick bus, which is a decapitator. So more saturation. And this just kind of gives, evens out the attack and gives it a little bit more attack. So crank it up. Obviously way too much. Here, let's solo that bus. That's what it is. That's what it sounds like by itself. So,
wow.
But it adds some harmonics and some more attack to the sound. But obviously not like crazy. Okay, let's keep going through the drums. Here is the snare, which it doesn't play right now. So we can show that over here. He's doing the rim shots right here. So I went through and cut out in the toms where he was where he wasn't playing so that it would clean that up. But we'll listen to that right here. So what I did here is I duplicated that track because I wanted the rim shots to be a little bit more in the center. But then when he actually played the tom, I wanted it to come across on the side, like I'd have it panned later in the song. So that's why it keeps flipping in and out. This is all the same audio file, these two. So here you can check out what that does. Now it's going to go further to left.
Whoa, a bunch.
You add the hi-hat to that. And this is all done in audience perspective, so that's why the hi-hat's on the right. You can hear what that sounds like with the overheads. So now just all the drums. And here is what the snare triggers were. So this is the first one. And this is from Joe Carell. It is, let's see. Okay, so it's a Gretsch, 5-inch Gretsch. And the second one is also from the same pack. 6.5-inch. And you mix them together along with the actual snare. So that's the snare top, snare bottom, and here's the triggers. It sounds huge. Let's go to those toms. So here is what's actually happening on those. It's a good spot to listen through them. So tom 1, the high tom, here we go. This is adding high end. It's cutting that, okay? This is cutting, showing you guys how it's, right? More just low mid grossness. And then I was struggling with that fundamental hanging out too long, and then Sooth kind of fixed that.
Oh, wow.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
Here's tom 2. Let's go back to nothing. So I'm using torque on it to tune it down a little bit. It's not crazy, but so here's what it is doing. It's really similar, actually. Cutting just a little higher. And this one's, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Adding some more high end, cutting all this low mids, and then leaving some low end. Let's see. Same thing with it kind of holding out too long. And then those are running through 2 parallels. They're running to 2 different reverbs within the parallel of, we talked about last week with the drum like parallel using smack. But then also it's running through the double lock, which is adding a lot. I'll show you guys the double lock. Which adds some harmonic distortion, and then yep. Okay, so as we keep going through that, now we'll add the bass to that. Let's listen through that. This was Drake Kennedy's track, which I ended up chopping up, as you can see, a fair amount. I was making a lot of cuts to make it follow the kick pattern basically exactly. And here's what this bass track sounds like.
Cuts look like? Like were you cutting off the tails or?
Well, I copied and pasted the notes, and what I did is made it, I think it was holding out, so it was like boom, 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 and this made it a little more staccato. And then it was following the kick pattern exactly, And here is what that EQ looks like. I split this bass track into 2 spots, and I'll show you guys later. So here, so it gets rid of that low mid stuff, but also gives it a little bit more which makes it cut a little bit more. And this is actually running to another instance of the double lock. I'll show you, turn it up. Here's it without it.
So much more character to it.
And then I ran all of that so it's able to EQ the bass parallel at the same time through the bass bus. This is sidechained to the kick. So when I turn on the kick, and then it's got this EQ on it.
Are you timing that side chain at all, or are you just doing super fast?
Let's
Pretty
see. The attack is 10 milliseconds. The release is 102. I do not remember if I changed that or just dropped it on there
I gotcha.
and said I like the way it sounds.
That's great.
So then we'll go drums and here's without the side chain. Makes it feel tighter to the kick. And here's the other bass. So I split it into 2 different tracks. He gave it to me as one, but I felt the end needed to be EQ'd differently than the beginning based off what he played. So this obviously has chorus on it now. I think it's actually compressed differently too, so you can see it over here. It's getting a lot less. Yeah. So let's move on now to probably the next most important thing, which are the guitars. Right, Wesley?
This camera over here, Dad.
No! It was plugged in. That's okay. I tried.
Same one you tried to do with Motion Night?
Do what?
Probably. He's talking to
He
me.
was asking if it was the same one Sean did with the motion room. All right, now we cut to EGs.
Cut to EGs.
It might still be on.
Now the little front side of the piano.
Y'all liking this?
Yes.
Yes,
fun.
that's great. Thank you, Tyler.
I know it seems like we're quiet, but we're taking a lot of notes.
Okay. Okay. So we kind of went over the R point earlier. The only thing that it's happening really with it automation-wise is it just gets turned down going into this next verse. But the thing is, there's a synth that takes it too, so it didn't need both at the same time. This. This is the only track that has like an additional delay put on it. So I called it EG width, and you can see this track is it's panned a little bit to the left, but the send is panned to the right. Right? So it makes this part a little wider in the mix, but also gives it a little bit more interest. And it's just using this 8th note delay. Here's without it. Big difference. So this is the chorus 1.
This is news to Wesley.
And now is with the 8th note delay on the right.
No wonder we're so confused about what delays you used. Because Tyler put a delay on it.
Classic Big Sky.
I was like,
Hey,
I
it
never
sounds
heard
awesome.
that.
It does sound awesome.
Chris was
So
like,
it
I
makes
didn't use
the
it either.
EG a lot wider, and here's how it fits in the mix then. Although there's a lot of stuff muted, so.
Wesley's whole world was shattered for a moment.
So it doesn't make it sound like it's just over there on the left. It also gives it a little bit of width, but in a cool way. So here's when you crank that. So that is that part. As we continue, then you have this next rhythm part that comes in on the verse. So this is when you did dual mono. So this one's actually pretty fun. So these are not panned. These are just straight down the middle. So you have the AC30 on the top and then the Fender on the bottom. And here's what the AC30 EQ looks like. Here's what the Fender EQ looks like, which goes to show you that the AC30 is brighter. So here's the EQ on both of those together. Here is the Echo Boy, which is it's on the Space Echo. So like the Roland Space Echo. This is the Crystallizer, so this is pretty fun. Reverse guitar solo MIDI. I don't know. And it's kind of what makes that guitar fun. Reverse delay.
Replicating the mix.
Do what?
I told the EG players, I said, good luck replicating the mix.
And then this is on there. Let's see. So it's cutting some high end, cutting some low end.
I forgot we recorded it like that.
It's you can see it's kind of containing it a little bit over here with the dynamic section for the compressor. Let's see. The EQ is like almost doing nothing. Back to the lexicon. Ballad vocals. And then this guy is just panning it a little bit to the right. Which I think this guitar sounds super cool. The reverse delay is super fun. Crystallizer. According to Jacob Collier, it's like his favorite. So it makes sense. Main lead line. It's cutting a little bit of 700 hertz and containing it just a little bit over here. Fast attack, slower release. And then this is just panning. So it's not really doing much. Turns it down a little bit. Cutting this is the high end. This probably helps a lot. Yeah. Okay, let's listen through this rhythm part. It's the same rhythm part from earlier. Same track. So it's also getting the wider plug-in. Here's without it. Pretty big difference. Let's go to this bridge. This guy has nothing on it. Good job. This over here is going to get pretty wonky, and you guys are going to judge me, and I'm okay with it. So we recorded the solo of the guitar, and then we changed the lead line after the fact, and I had to do it by transposing the guitars inside of Pro Tools, and by themselves it sounds a little interesting, but you know what? I don't care. Because nobody complained about it.
You can't tell in the mix.
You can tell when you solo it. Not this one. Yours is good. So we actually quadruple tracked this part. Okay, so let's just go through these. 1.
It's the Mustang on the neck pickup.
2, 3, 4. Okay, and that is, once again, cutting the high end off. It's adding a little bit of almost 4K, which makes it cut a little bit more. Cutting a little bit of 1K. Let's see. Yeah. Cuts. Containing them all together. Black box is widening it and adding some saturation. You can see it's pushing the triode, which is triode's more like upper mids, whereas the pentode is more like low mids, and then a little reverb on top of it, which puts it a little bit more feeling like it was in the room, since it wasn't. And makes it sit in the mix a little bit more. But you can see where these are the cuts where it actually is changing from what he actually played. If I drag out the end, we can listen to the whole thing. It's not this one that's bad. It's the next one. And that became... Worked out great. Okay, the rhythm one, not so much. You're going to hear these transitions, and in the track, you can't tell, so.
You on Planning Center?
And it's okay. See, when you unmute it all, it's fine.
It still sounds good.
Yeah, it still sounds great. So
Just covered up with drums.
yeah. So this is the lead from the end of the song. It's not full wide. As you can see right here, it's 76% there, 76% on the left side, but that's also because you have, I think these are the crunch ones, and those are going wide. So this is a little bit more in the middle. And it's actually, you can see from the volumes, that's how it's doing the panning, rather. So it is turned up more on the right side than the left side. So naturally, you're going to feel like it's a little bit panned to the right. It's just kind of what panning does. And here's all the guitars together. Let's see, on these crunch guys. Okay, so this is something I learned from watching Chris Lord Alge videos. On big crunch guitars, sometimes he'll boost the low end. So it's boosting 100 hertz right here. So check this out. But then what he'll do is he'll slam it with the 3A, which kind of still makes it sound big, but it's not going to take as much room in the mix. It evens out even though you're pushing that low end into it. So here's without the EQ on these. They got meaner. Pushed, it's also pushing that 3K right here, but it's actually doing it with a shelf, but it's still cutting it off. Michael Brower does a trick where he would push like between this frequency and 4K, and what you do is you push it up a lot on the EQ, but then you use your low pass filter to get rid of it, so then it's brightening it up without making it hurt, and also bring up the frequencies that are really kind of above guitar range, kind of above like 6K. It starts getting kind of just sounding like air moving. So here's all the guitars. Now at the end. Okay, so let's go to acoustic. We actually recorded 3 acoustic parts on this, and we only used 2. One of them was a picking part. It's really pretty, but it was too much when it got to the end of the song. Here's what the acoustics sound like. Let's find those.
Who did acoustic?
Caleb.
Oh, cool.
Copied and pasted on these. It's cutting out a lot of that low end. Some of that junk. Some of this just, once again, turning it down. And then it's using the distressor. Pretty heavily. It's like you can see on the back end, it's going to be slamming this thing.
Individually on each of them?
Do what?
On each of them?
Yeah, so they're separate. So you can see this is left and right. And here's without the EQ and the distressor. The verb is the little plate. It's a one knob thing. You can just use the low cut. And then here's without it. And so what they're doing is both of these are panned wide, and the send to the reverb is also following that pan. So you can see right there. Show you guys the other part that got cut. Let's see. There's this other part. I tried it. It's pretty, but it became too much with everything else. So yeah, let's just keep going down. Let's look at the lead vocal. So I actually printed it, and I'm not gonna be able to show you everything on it because it was using the retros over there. Sorry, and I don't even remember what was on them. But one of the main things I think that this track did was you can see where it's turning down noise. So let me turn off the inserts because they're not going to be available. But we'll listen to this soloed.
When I say
I'll turn off the effects.
I am yours, let me mean it. Every day, every breath.
You can see where it's turning it down. Which is actually mostly not even just the space, it's the breaths.
Wanna walk like the sun.
And this clip gain line.
Say that again?
Clip gain line?
Yeah.
Hear you say well done and live in the light of your presence.
Okay, so what that did is it ran through clarity, getting rid of some of the noise from the track.
That goes on and on. Oh, I only want you, Jesus.
Okay. Next thing on the chain of the vocal was a tape.
Holy, holy.
Which the only thing is it's doing is it should be giving it some more compression and saturation because of how much it's pushing into the circuit.
Holy, holy.
So the next thing I want to say was, I think it was the Neve 551 EQ going into the Retro 176, which would have been a faster compressor. I have a video of it, so I could go back and look at the settings. I just don't remember what they are right now, and I didn't take a picture and put it in the session, so I can't remember.
Your main camera turned off.
No! Why?
The GoPros just be like that, man.
The GoPros be like that.
Good turn off.
Oh.
Is it turned back on?
No.
Or is it dead?
I think it's dead.
Okay. Well, I tried.
But we're still recording.
No.
This thing's still
It must have been
recording
some
from the
podcast.
actual like session.
And in this moment, we're going to switch to podcast.
So the next thing in there was all this stuff got printed because of the way I ended up using. So I printed the like through the effects and the effects chain since it went this way. So it went the clarity, tape, then EQ and compression, and then it went into this Pro Q. Does that make sense? Are you following right now? Okay.
I can't live without, oh, I only want you, Jesus.
I think it'll be more apparent when we skip through the end.
That goes.
This area was killing me,
Only want you, Jesus.
and this got really bright, like even when she gets over here.
Oh,
It was like, for some reason, I don't know if it's her voice or the mic. And that's still not a big cut.
oh, you're everything.
De-esser. Let's go back to. And then the last thing that ran through, I want to say, was back through the stay level. And these things were getting super compressed. Okay. So this is what, oh yeah, here's a way you can see how much they're getting compressed. It actually is a lot. So there is the different tracks and you can see the peaks and see how loud it gets right here. It's pretty flattened, but I like the way it sounded, so I don't
And that was
care.
through the stay level?
Stay level and the retro 176.
Jesus, my all.
And then last thing was soothe on it, cutting out a little bit more of that high end.
Jesus, my
Right? Okay. Here's like where you can tell where it got like really compressed.
thing. Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down.
And that's running through this parallel compressor too, which actually is pretty loud.
Here's my life.
And then when you turn the effects back on, this is what it sounded like.
You're the one I can't live without. Oh,
And here's with the parallel compression back on.
here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live without. Oh, I only want you, Jesus. Yes, lift my
And then it cranked up the delay send at the end, so you can see right here.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're
The delay is Valhalla delay. So it has a cool ducking feature. So where when it's almost like it's side chaining itself. So when it's when you're feeding something into it, it will duck down the delay, and then as soon as it lets go, it will come back up. So it's almost like when you run a side chain to it, but it does it itself.
alive, Lord, I lay.
And you can hear it in between the phrases how it comes up.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live without. Oh,
Does a pretty good job.
Yeah, so it's really cool, and it's got a nice. All these have like a lot of de-essing on it, so the S's aren't going to any of the effects. We can go back to the beginning of the vocal and see how. There's also, I think, a fair amount of automation on the volume. Actually, no, I let the compression do it on this song. It might have printed the other one. Let me see. Let me take that back. Let's see. Yeah. So all this volume automation got printed. Okay. And then this was after it got printed, that's the amount of volume automation, which just turned this part down and turned the rest of the song up. So if you want to see what that is, we can listen through. You can see where it.
When I say I am yours,
It's turning. You can see it even in the way it's.
Presence lifts my hands to the living God, bringing praise that goes on to Jesus.
I like to turn up the beginning of phrases because it makes it pop over the transition, and then you can let it settle back in. So you can see right here.
I can help but respond.
I don't know what that is.
Is my life, Lord, I lay.
It doesn't do anything.
Jesus, my King, I wouldn't trade you for anything. When it's all said and done, I wanna say you are the prize, you're everything. Everything. Oh, you're everything.
Let's see.
Jesus, you're all we want, Jesus. It's you and you alone.
So that was what got printed on there, and then I can hide this one again. And then let's look at some of the. I don't know if these have. Yeah, you can see even the delay has automation on the volume of itself. So I guess I double dipped and sent it to sent. Was changing how much I was sending to it and how much I turned it up. So let's see, from the beginning.
Every breath by your spirit. Wanna walk like the sun and love like my Father in heaven.
Is this a live vocal or is this?
Yeah.
Hear you say, well done, and live in the light.
This is actually the first time we sang this song too.
Wow.
She did really well.
She did.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay
So that adds the delay there.
down. You're the one I can live without.
And you can see it added more reverb,
The light of your presence.
which adds a little bit more excitement to this chorus.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can live.
Let's go to this verse. You can see it's kind of doing sins on different words.
But respond to your glory.
Just the final phrases.
Yeah.
All my heart crying out, holy, holy. Wanna sing of the Son and join with the angels in heaven. Let your kingdom come. I just wanna stay in your presence. Is my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the.
And that's the volume of the send.
Yes. So, like so this is, you can automate. So these are the sends right here. Okay. So this is sending to the doubler, which that one didn't ever get touched again. Okay. But then what you can do is like this is the send to the delay. So if I
Yeah, I got you.
so it's automating that send throughout the song. Same thing with the reverb.
But then you're also doing it on the volume of the actual delay change.
Yeah, that's why I said I actually double dipped on that one, and I don't know why. Next thing, let's look at the BGVs. So these are all overdubbed. None of these are live. So here's once again, here's what's on this guy.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down.
This is the main BGV of the song.
I can't live with
Really thinned out. Destroyed the S's.
you, Jesus.
And then our vox
lift my hands to the living God, bring
and got rid of all that nastiness up top.
goes on
You hear it? It's gross.
only
Okay, so then
you, Jesus.
this is running through the parallel. It's like pretty much the same thing as what Caitlin's was. Now it's this chorus,
You, Jesus,
which is also,
is my life.
this is like, I made a chorus one time and I'm pretty sure that, like, once again, Corbin did something and I liked it and I just stuck with it because it felt cool as like a send.
Is my life.
So that's the chorus, makes it a little,
Down, you're the one I can't
and then here's the verb, which is a delay running into a reverb. So I have this saved as what we ran through stuff in Ableton. So here's,
my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live with.
and here's without the delay.
I only want you, Jesus.
You're not doing a lot of automating on that delay,
Lift my
huh?
hands
Or are you?
to the
No.
living God, bring
Let's see.
praise that goes on and on.
For some reason, the mix of it went up over here, so it was on these vocals.
And on, oh, I only want you, Jesus.
Fun, huh?
And I can show you those. Yeah, these got a little bit more affected. So one of Esther's vocals, I turned it into a vocoder. Show you that. That one's actually pretty fun. So let's just turn off everything. You can hear what the vocal sounded like.
Life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one
Became super tuned.
I can't live without. Oh,
Which actually pushed the mid-range a little bit.
only want you, Jesus.
We went over that one earlier. It's just leveling out the whole thing.
Lift my hands. Here's my life. Lord, I lay it down. You're the one.
So this is cool. Turn the format down on it. Or turned it up, I guess. I don't know.
Lift my hands.
And then used vocal synth, I guess.
The free version.
I have it, I promise.
Free trial ran out.
I'll show you what it all sounded like. And then I'll show you what the vocal synth sounded like. Let's see. Here's what it sounds like. Actually really cool. Added that octave to it.
And what does that sound like with the other three vocalists?
So here's like the first chorus, and I will.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live with. Only want you, Jesus.
Actually, I think it's really cool.
I had no idea that was in
Neither
there.
did I.
That was really good.
Here's other Esther.
Lord, I lay it down. You're
This is a really cool compressor. It's kind of like a 2A. So you do the same thing. You turn up the input. Well, I guess it's less like a 2A, more like a. It kind of works like a 2A, but the way you do the input's more like an 1176. So you turn up the input, turn down the output. But it's that like tube optical EQ. And if you do the fast, you get a little bit more saturation. If you do normal, it just kind of makes stuff sound a little fatter in a good way. It's nice.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay
Obviously, it's still louder,
the one
but it gets a little grit too.
without. Oh, I only want you, Jesus. Lift my hand.
And she's using the same effects and synths that Jesse was. This Jesse is only going to verb, I guess. Let's see.
Just my king. I wouldn't
Yeah, he's old tune.
anything when it's all said and done. I want
But it's just a texture in there, so it's not really meant to, it's kind of just adding the low.
here's my life, Lord.
And then you mix that with the gang vocals, like it's kind of not meant to be heard by itself.
Here's my life, Lord.
So you have the big sound of the gang vocals and then the uptight, and then this just gives you the low of it. So it doesn't really matter that it was a little like overly tuned.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live without. Oh, I only want you.
Let's go through the synths. We've gone through most of the stuff of the song. Do what?
Those cymbals through the crowd mic is
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
unbelievable.
Actually, so let's see. Here are. I'm just gonna unmute everything and we'll go back through it. Where the synths right there. See what they're doing.
Mark did these, huh?
Yes. Technically, they're not even following. They're following what the old guitar did. Oh yeah, Andrew. I'm pretty sure you played the organ on this.
Yeah, I did.
He hopped over live.
You're
just a
a treasure trove. I did not claim
Instruments.
Morgan. I don't claim Morgan.
You don't know.
Andrew's
Andrew's him.
One of the cool things on this song though is that ARP.
I can help.
This is the one I was talking about earlier that matches the guitar, so you could kind of turn the guitar down. And then they can work together on it. Because you heard the guitar over here do it, so you get the idea of it, and then they're both going to do it here. But it doesn't sound good just by itself. But without the synth, the guitar isn't as cool either.
Holy, holy, wanna sing of the sun. Let your kingdom come. I just wanna stay in your presence. Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down.
The thing I think you need to see the most though is how much volume automation is across like all the different things. Because I think that's what makes a lot of stuff come together. Well, you can't see it that way. Here, we'll just like scroll up. Oh no!
You deleted the song.
Everything's
Song
gone.
gone.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh wow, you made that really small.
Gone song.
So you can see there's like the EG, and it's pushing the EGs up in different sections. So like over here, and then
Whatever that is,
a lot on the piano. Drops it down on this verse because you don't need it.
Which piano is this?
This is the real piano. Pushes it up a lot on these first two bridges, the first bridge and the interlude right there when it's down. Drops it down again here. Which is honestly kind of evening it out because I played it harder.
And you said you sent the MIDI from the night to this piano.
No, I didn't record the MIDI that night. I re-recorded the MIDI.
Oh,
I can show you what the actual night piano was. Let's listen to the difference.
What piano did you use?
And we'll see you in a second. That's the soft piano. So that's the C7 and the felt. And then that became this. These notes were hot, and that's why. Listen without this automation. One thing I don't like to do is, so I left the MIDI alone. I didn't quantize it. I went back and like edited the actual audio, because the thing I don't like about editing MIDI is it takes all of this, like the way your hand naturally moves, and it flattens it. So like instead of just putting this chord with the way your fingers naturally hit the keys, not all at the same time, it puts them all at the same time. And nobody plays that way. So, I mean, another way is you could go in and move this. So if like you could move the MIDI and then like grab the front of it, but it's almost, and then now that's like in time. But if you quantized that, all these notes would just be perfectly on the grid, and it doesn't sound right to me personally. It takes all the feel out of it. So, yeah. And then it turns it up here for the end. And it's actually turning it down. I don't know why, but it's great. I don't care. Let's see. Some automation on these ARPs over here was this guy.
I can help.
So we get into the chorus and it drops down. This guy comes in though. Yeah, I was trying something to give some excitement in between, like the end of the phrase. So.
Did you do that same automation with any other instruments?
Let's see. Not like that. No, I don't think so. And then here's the automation you can see on the strings.
I can't live without, oh, I only want you, Jesus. Lifts my
They turn up.
Jesus, my all, King, I wouldn't trade you.
Turn up some more.
Jesus, my all.
Sound really pretty.
Said and done, everything. Jesus, my all. Oh, Jesus.
Kind of slightly tell they're there. Here's the automation on the vocals. It's turning Jesse's low vocal down there, up on the verse, up a little bit more on the chorus, down, and then up at the end. Same thing over here, you can see. Turned him down on that spot. The only other thing that's on a bus, these are mostly just for printing stems, was the black box was on the synth bass, and that just gave away that I didn't have to create another bus because there's 2 of them. Let's see what the synth bass does.
Was this his synth bass or Mark or somebody else?
It's either Mark or Andrew. I think this is Andrew. No, it's Mark. So this guy is... Oh, it's mono, so I just put it in mono, and I cut the low end out of it. Because it didn't need it.
Jesus, my all. Oh, Jesus, my King. I wouldn't trade you for anything when it's all said and done.
The loops. The only thing I did for real that kind of changed the loop was the same thing, this MV2. I think it helped. I guess I still have them muted. Oh yeah, let's unmute all this. This helped out with this. Without it, its level is kind of all over the place. So this just kind of kept it more consistent. Which it is a really cool loop that goes along with the guitar and the other synth. If you listen to that, and it like works really well with those two.
Heart crying out, holy, holy.
But most of the loop stuff doesn't really have anything on it. Didn't need it. Let's see, this guy. Whenever it attacks or something, I don't know. And then this is all the perk that Kyle did. Besides that one. Or maybe that one is too. Let's see. No. Here's all these. The few of them have the Valhalla Vintage verb on them. But then they're running through the parallel, which is a double lock, and percussion room. Here's without the parallel in the room. Really dry. This is also really dry, so you have to like balance it out because it's not running through the reverb. But it adds a little bit of oomph to the tracks. For the effects, this is something I learned from Chris Greeley. Was you can just put a C6 on there or any multiband, really. But what I did for all these effects tracks is here. Let's find something. I guess this one's fine. Let's see what it is. I don't even think it touched it. It's not even loud enough. But what you can do is you can pull the threshold down, and then what it'll do is it'll compress the signal, like especially on an effect. It'll compress it as it, like imagine if it's a sweep, as it goes from the low to the high end, it'll compress it, and then let go of that compressor, and then keep compressing it across the frequency spectrum, which is pretty cool. It's like, let's see, maybe this one does it. It's obviously not even touching them much because they're like so low, but like you can see it slightly. Let me see if I can find another one that does it. This may not be the best example in the song. What do you guys do?
Oh, FX drop.
You can see it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's like it does it from where the frequency hits. So if it starts high and then goes low, it'll start high and compress it as it goes down. Which honestly, for dropping them into the mix, it works really quickly, which is nice. What is effect stomp? Okay. So I think that pretty much covers the whole song besides the mix bus. Yeah. So let's go look at that. We'll go to the biggest part of the song. I'll start turning stuff off. This is just a limiter. Which is hitting what? Not crazy, right? So it's not getting a ton of gain reduction. Start from the get-go. This is just the AB plugin, which it doesn't know where stuff is now. Adding a little bit of high end right here. Past that, it's the same idea as we talked before. This adds like a little bit of low end, but it's pushing it into that circuit, which is going to compress it a little bit and give it some harmonic distortion.
You're just trying to make it hit the red, or like what's the?
Yeah, I may not even normally make it hit that hard, but sounded fine. I went with their mix bus warmer. Apparently you're supposed to hit 0. I went over. But it does do a little bit of compression. I mean, we could tweak the amount, and I think it would still be okay. Like, that's where the preset is supposed to hit. But I like it. Let's see. So, have y'all heard me talk about the Pultec trick of boosting and cutting? Okay, so you can kind of boost somewhere in this like 30 to 60 range and then also cut. And what it's going to do is it's going to boost your low end and then cut your low mids. Obviously, the more aggressive you do it.
Specific section.
What?
So that you're just boosting that specific section.
Yes, so these 3 knobs go together, right? These knobs right here go together.
The bandwidth doesn't affect.
Actually, I take that
low.
back. So these 3 go together. These 3 go together. These 2 go together.
Oh.
The bandwidth does the high frequency. These 3 are all together, and then the attenuation goes to whatever's right here.
How are
Okay.
you supposed to know that?
Yeah, that was not very intuitive.
I thought the bandwidth did the high and the low.
I thought too.
Yeah.
I thought it was just all of it.
So it's attenuating at 20K and boosting a little bit at 16. This is the mid frequency, which is doing nothing. Let's see. It is cutting a little bit at 300 and doing nothing there. And the next guy is off. I love this plugin so much. So this is saturation. This is EQ. It says it right there. The compressor is actually on. I normally would turn it off. I left it on for this one. And then it's adding width right here. But the cool thing is, do what?
Can you do it again? Bypass it.
It's adding or subtracting?
Listen to the EGs. It's adding width. So if it's
zero.
all the way at minus, that's 0.
I'm with you.
Anything past that is additive. So we can turn off each section at a time. More saturation. This plugin is supposed to do a thing that is boosting inherent loudness. I think that's what they call it. So it should make it sound like it's louder. That's kind of the point. This plugin is just magic. It's not even doing anything crazy, but just clears it up. This guy is cutting off the edges of the mix.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one I can't live without. Oh,
So this is how I sent it to master. I had the other two plugins turned off.
here's my life.
So this is the level it sent. This is what I did in the mix phase though. This EQ did nothing. This one is on the mid and it's cutting basically 300 and 900. And the side is cutting low end. So
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down. You're the one.
and then the last thing on there is just the make loud guy, which also kind of glues it together.
Here's my life, Lord, I lay it down.
And it's really loud.
I can't live without. Oh, I only want you.
I think that pretty much covers it. Do you have any questions on the rest of the mix?
Oh, that's pretty great.
It's honestly just a bunch of little things. Because I mean, if you go to the actual like, most things don't have a lot of stuff on them. The drums are gonna have a lot, but everything from down here is synths. So I did the same thing I talked about before on the snare with the transient shaper. So it's cutting some of the transient from the actual snare and then adding on this guy only. So only on the first trigger, and then the second trigger is cutting the attack as well. Does that make sense? So you're really getting the transient from one source rather than 4, 3, yeah. Let's listen to here's what the drums sound like without like a couple of like the parallel buses. You can see where a lot of like the source come from. So that's the double lock. A lot of the snares on that one. Here's without the double lock. You mix that with all the perk and loops. And that's the mix.
It's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Wow.